welcome back to my channel, or if you happen to be new here, my name is Jess. As you can tell from the title of this video, the day has finally come where I'm going to show you the Stephen King books that I currently own. I actually was on Skype with Sam, that bookish gamer here on YouTube, not too long ago, and I made a list of all the Stephen King books that I didn't actually own because she was, you know, asking me like, oh, have you read this? Like, do you own this? And I was like, you know what? I actually have quite a few that I don't own. I think of all the books of his that I own, I don't own like 10 or 12 of them. And they're actually books that most of them I have read. I have no idea where the copies of them are. A lot of them are books that I've heard a lot about, but, you know, assumed that I owned that I didn't own, which is very strange for me because, as you guys know, I am a collector of Stephen King. I adore Stephen King. So today I thought I would take you guys a little bit closer to my bookshelves. This is my Stephen King bookshelf right behind me. I do not really have like Stephen King merch. I do just own a lot of his books, so that's mostly what I'm going to be showing you guys today. I do own a couple of candles, which I'll go over those as we go through it, but I really just wanted to sit down and kind of show you guys what Stephen King books I own. This is actually a video that is highly requested, and I don't know when I got pegged as like the Stephen King like fan on YouTube, but you know, there's quite a few people that do a lot of Stephen King books, but I am glad to share with you guys what I do have from him. So I'm going to take you guys a little bit closer and show you each individual book, kind of a, I don't want to say bookshelf tour, but kind of a bookshelf tour of all the Stephen King books I own. Just a little disclaimer here, a lot of these are very, very old, so they look battered and beat up. It's because they are battered and beat up. A lot of his books that I own were written in like 80s, 90s, so they're older than I am or as old as I am. I was born in 1990. Do I need to date myself on my YouTube channel? But yeah, so I just wanted to show you guys some of these series obviously don't match as well. That's kind of a problem that I've had with a couple of these. And then a lot of these are mass market paperbacks, and a few of them don't even have dust jackets. So, but I am going to show you guys. So let's go ahead and just scoot a little bit closer to my bookshelf so I can show you guys what I have when it comes to my Stephen King book collection. All right, so here is bookshelf number 1. Gonna start off with Bazzara Bad Dreams. It's one of my favorite short story compilations that he has. And then of course we have 4 Past Midnight, which I can't remember if I've even read this or not. I've read so many at this point and I hate those stickers. And then we have Just After Sunset, which is a really kind of messed up short story compilation, but I really, really liked it, honestly. And then we have my hairless cover of Different Seasons by Stephen King. This is like my 4th or 5th version of this book that I have owned because I have problems. And then we have my unedited illustrated version of The Stand, which I also haven't read. Am I even a fan at this point? And then we have the biggest book by him that I own. It is Insomnia, or at least it feels the biggest. I don't know if it's because it's just plain white and red. It just makes it seem so massive, but it honestly is giant. And then we have the Mr. Mercedes series, which I love the cover of these. I think that they're really interesting for some reason. So we have all of them there. End of Watch is my favorite, clearly my favorite. Look how beautiful that is. I just love them so much, and they look so good on my shelves, honestly. They really do. And then we have Needful Things, which you guys have heard me speak about before on my channel. I love this book so much. It's so creepy and so cool, and it's just honestly like a really, really great story. So that is shelf number 1. And this is shelf number 2. This is the only one that has any kind of like merch on it. I have my candles there. I have Dairy Maine, The Overlook, and Wendy Darling. And these are made by Nerdy Girl if you guys are interested. And then I also have Carrie and Losers Club. I adore them. And then we have my mismatch set of the Dark Tower series. So here's the first 4 of them. You can pause if you want to read which ones are which, because I obviously sped through this because I wasn't taking them out. And then I have a floppy version of Wolves of the Kala, which is my favorite version of these books, but I can't find the rest of them in this version for some reason. And then my favorite of the series is Song of Susanna. Susanna is easily my favorite character out of the entire series. So the movie was kind of upsetting because Susanna wasn't in it at all. And I was like, what the fuck? So good. And then my favorite cover of the entire series is this one. I actually wanted to get this tattooed on me somewhere, but I'm allergic to red ink. So I don't know what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do that. And then obviously we have The Wind Through the Keyhole, which is the little novella that went with it. And then of course, because it is Stephen King, I naturally have this compendium thing. It's like a concordance. It's all about the entire series.
So I have that just to get all the little extra tidbits from the novel that I didn't pick up on. And then we have Everything's Eventual, which would not stand up, and I Can't Speak. This is a short story compilation. We're getting into my paperbacks. Here is Rage. This is by Richard Bachman. Obviously, that's a super old book. Duma Key, which is one of my most favorite books by Stephen King. I absolutely adored this book. I think it's completely underrated. I like the world in it a lot. And then we have The Talisman by him and Peter Straub, which I haven't read because I'm iffy about collabs in writing. And then we have Roadwork. I love these editions of the books, the ones with the full bold cover on them. And The Dark Half, which is another one of my most favorite books by him. I absolutely adored this book. You guys already know this. I've spoke about it before on my channel. And then we have From a Buick 8, which was a really, really hard book to read. Honestly, it kind of creeped me out even more than his normal stuff. And then we have The Long Walk, which I didn't actually enjoy, but my best friend Sid absolutely loves this book, so I think it's still worth trying to read it if you guys are at all interested. And then we have The Dead Zone, which they also made into a television show, and I really enjoyed the television show as well. I like the cover of this one a lot. It's very different from his normal stuff. Nope, book fell over. And then we have Firestarter, which the cover for this is really simplistic and still really cool. And the Concordance fell over. But that is shelf number 2. I hate the way this shelf looks. I hate it so much. And then this is the third shelf. This is the most aesthetically pleasing one to me. First book we have here is Full Dark No Stars. I love the cover on this, and I love every single one of the stories in this book. I think it's a really, really cool book. Also, I'm sorry that I'm in frame. I couldn't tell where my camera was, apparently. And then we have Pet Sematary. I love this cover. Look at that cat. Also, this is the creepiest movie I've ever seen. It absolutely gave me nightmares as a child. I actually ended up digging up one of our dogs that we buried because I thought it was going to come back to life and kill me. And then we have Lizzie's story. We all know my thoughts on Lizzie's story. I might actually try to give it another read, but I'm kind of afraid to since I hated it the first time I read it, or tried to read it. And then we have Under the Dome, which is a really great television show as well. I've also not met, but seen the woman who plays the female main character in that in a town called Wilmington, North Carolina, and she was really nice. And then we have The Regulators by Richard Bachman, obviously. I love this cover. Sorry, it's an old library book. That's why the plastic is still on it. But that book was confusing, but great. And we have Dreamcatcher, my favorite book to movie adaptation ever. I fucking loved it. I thought they did a great job, and this cover is so beautiful. This cover and the next cover are my 2 favorite covers by him. Not the next cover, sorry. This cover and another cover I'll show you guys later. And then we have Joyland, which this cover is awesome. It's so different and so cool, and I really like it. And then we have another collab that he did that I have not read. It is Black House. Another one with Peter Straub. I don't know who Peter Straub is either. I should probably figure that out. And then we have Storm of the Century, which they did also make into a movie, if you guys are at all interested. I haven't read it yet. I probably should. But I've seen the movie, and I saw the movie before I even owned the book, so I was like, why do I want to read it? And then we have Misery. This cover is so cool. I like the drawn covers that they do, like the kind of cartoony covers. And I like how it's written in blood. And then we have The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. I think the cover of this is also really cool. It's like a super small novel, though. It's like really, really small. And then we have Salem's Lot. These are my favorite old covers. I really, really love these kind of covers by him. Like, they really stand out as a Stephen King novel. And then one of my most favorite books by him, The Tommyknockers. I'm actually reading this again for the sci-fi readathon that we're doing this month, and I'm fucking pumped. And then we have Revival, which has a beautiful cover, a beautiful storyline, amazing characters. I absolutely inhaled this book. I think I read it in like 6 hours. I got it the day it came out, and I was so excited. And the massive book that I'm having trouble getting out is 11/22/63, which they also made into a TV show on Hulu, which you guys should totally watch. And you can tell how much I love this book because it's literally falling apart. But I still really, really liked it. So that is it for shelf number 3. Yeah. And this is the final shelf. The first book we have here is the first book by him I ever read, and it would be The Green Mile. I obviously have the movie version of the book. And then we have Dolores Claiborne, which I have not read, mostly because the cover terrifies me. I'm not all about creepy people. I don't know, it just doesn't look like it's a book that I'm really gonna enjoy. And then we have The Shining, which also does not have a cover on it because I don't know where it is. I didn't take it off. I think I bought it like this, but I think it actually looks kind of cool on my shelf, so that is why I keep it. And then we have the sequel to that, Dr. Sleep, which is another one of my most favorite covers of all time. I absolutely love it. And then earlier I mentioned that book, Dreamcatcher, was one of my favorite covers. These next two books that I'm going to show you are in kind of the same vein. I love the art style of this book. This is Hearts in Atlantis. This is actually a really, really great book, and I believe they made it into a movie as well. And then we have Bag of Bones, which they also made into like a Netflix special or something like that, and it was crap, but this is my second favorite book of him by all time. By him of all time? You know what I was trying to say. I absolutely loved it. And then here's an underrated book by him, Cell. I believe they're making this into a movie. If I'm correct, this is like zombies kind of, but it's more like apocalyptic than anything. Totally underrated, totally amazing, and I'm pretty sure John Cusack is going to be the main person in it, which is really cool to me. And then we have Rose Matter. I like the cover of this a lot. I'm sorry for all these stickers. I don't know why I left them on every single book that I own, but I did. And then I'm buddy reading this with a friend next month, and it is Sleeping Beauties. I so want to get that tattooed on me somewhere. Can we all just take a moment to appreciate how freaking beautiful that is? Honestly, it's also massive. Watch me struggle trying to get it back in its place. And then my most recent purchase is Gwendy's Button Box. And this is not the cover that I wanted, but I'm going to buy the paperback edition eventually when it finally comes out. And then I did want to show you guys the Joe Hill books that I have. This is Stephen King's son. I thought I would mention it here. I own Horns, which the movie for this is actually really, really fucking cool. And then I have Heart-Shaped Box. The cover of this is beautiful. This is so my aesthetic. Gray, red, and black. And then I have Nosferatu. My friend actually sent me this, and I'm super geeked to have it finally. And watch me struggle. Oh. There we go. And that is the last and final shelf.
Alright, so that is it. That is all of the Stephen King books I own. I did not count how many I owned, but I will tell you I have a 5-tier shelf, as you guys can see from the video, and 4.5 of those shelves are actually full of Stephen King. Well, sorry, 3.5 of those shelves are full of Stephen King books. A lot of them are double stacked on top of each other. It's a mess. I need to just move everything and just have my Stephen King stuff on one shelf, but I'm also going to be placing an order and ordering the books that I don't actually own. I do have all of his new stuff. I just don't have a lot of his older stuff, which is really shocking to me. Like, you guys will have noticed, like, It is missing. Like, who the hell doesn't own It? I don't own Carrie. Like, I don't know. My life is a mess at this point. But yeah, so I'm going to be ordering the rest of the books that I don't own just to actually complete my collection. But if you guys are wondering what the hell is wrong with me and why I own all of these, it is because I have literally been collecting these since I was a kid. I have owned these books for a long time. There actually was a really dark point in my life where financially I wasn't doing very well. It was right after I got married and my husband was away for the military, and I had to sell all of the books that I owned to be able to pay rent on the apartment that I was living in before I moved to California where he was. And I cried at selling all of my other books, but I sat there and looked at my Stephen King books and was like, I can't sell these. Like, these are literally a part of me. So that is why these are very, very dear to me, that I couldn't even in my most desperate moment get rid of them. Like, these books are literally my childhood. So if I seem like a Stephen King uber fan or uber nerd or whatever, it's because I really am. I think that he is a fantastic writer. I think that he is a wonderful person. I think that he is interesting and funny, and you would think that I'm in love with him, but he's old enough to be my grandpa. I just really, really like him. So if you haven't read anything by Stephen King, or if you'd like any recommendations, I do actually have a Stephen King recommendation video on my channel. I'm not super proud of that video. I'm probably actually going to refilm it and give you guys a little bit more information now that I've done this. But if any of these videos actually, you know, strike your fancy, some of these I haven't actually read. So if you want to buddy read them with me, please let me know. Like, I haven't read Pet Sematary. I haven't obviously read like Lizzie's story I tried to read but couldn't read, that kind of stuff. So if you guys want to do a read along with me at any point in time, let me know in the comments down below if any of these books sound interesting to you. I'm also willing to reread books by him that I have read before. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys aren't judging me too hard on all the crap by him that I own, but I hope you guys are having a good week, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!